So, hi folks. Up to now in this course, really all we've been doing is client-side programming, but full-fledged web applications usually are passing data between a client, which you're building on the front end, and then a back end, which contains the server and the database. And this bookshop application that you're building is actually doing that. So when we try to log into a server, um, in this bookshop application, uh, and I hit the login here. What really happened here is I sent some data to the server, and then the server replied with these two statements, incorrect and correct, and then the client then displayed those client side right here in the interface. But we can examine that communication that's happening in the background by opening our developer tools here and clicking on the network tab. And let me just clear this stuff out here, and let me press that login again, and you'll see a request being logged right here, which we can then look at. Okay, so let's click login. We can see the login being that request being logged here. If we click on it, then we can see the information that was passed from the client to the server, and the pertinent information in this request is down here at the bottom. And you can see that what was passed was effectively what looks like a JavaScript object with two attributes, a name attribute and a password attribute, and the values joexxx, which corresponds to this, and sesame, which corresponds to this. And then we can also look at what was what the response was that was created by the server by looking at the response. And what the response did, what the server did, was reply with this, which looks like a JavaScript object, but we call it a JavaScript object notation, because it includes these little quotes here, and you can read more about it if you look closely at the assignment. It's basically like a stringified JavaScript object. But anyway, the server replied with this response, and you can see it's got a username attribute and a password attribute. And the username attribute has incorrect as a value, which corresponds to this, and a correct value for the password attribute, which corresponds to this. I could put in maybe DDD here, and let's run it again. Log in. If we go to login, we can go to the headers, go down again, look at the object that was passed to the server, and then we can look at the response, and we can see that this was what was how the server replied back to the client.